There comes a moment in every successful person's life when they look around at everything they've built and feel absolutely nothing. Not gratitude, not pride, just a vast, terrifying emptiness where purpose used to be. Marcus Chen was 28 years old, standing in his new apartment overlooking San Francisco Bay, holding a check for $3.2 million, and he couldn't remember why any of it mattered anymore. He grew up in Sacramento, lower middle class. The kind of neighborhood where you could hear your neighbors' arguments through the walls and everyone knew when someone lost their job. Marcus was 12 when his father came home at 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, face gray, and said the factory was closing. That night, Marcus heard his mother crying in the kitchen. He stood outside the door, listening as she tried to decide between paying the electricity bill or buying groceries. Her voice kept breaking. "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." Marcus made a promise that night, whispered it to himself in the dark. "I will never let my family go through that again." That promise became fuel. He studied obsessively, memorized textbooks, won scholarships. His friends went to parties. Marcus went to the library. His friends dated. Marcus solved engineering problems until 3 in the morning. He graduated at the top of his class, joined a tech startup, worked 16-hour days, slept under his desk, ate ramen for dinner, again and again and again. 5 years later, the startup sold. He was 28 with $3.2 million in his bank account. The first thing he did was buy his mother a house, paid off his father's debts, put both his younger brothers through college. That night, alone in his new apartment, he sat on the floor and waited for happiness to arrive. It never came. He had everything he wanted, everything he'd promised himself at 12 years old. But he no longer knew why he woke up in the morning. He'd spent 16 years chasing a goal, and now that he'd reached it, the silence was deafening. What Marcus didn't understand yet was that he'd made a fundamental mistake. He had turned a means into an end. Money was supposed to be a tool to take care of his family, but somewhere along the way it became the goal itself. And when you achieve your goals, you lose the purpose that drove you. So Marcus did what successful people do when they feel empty. He started again. New company. Bigger goals. $10 million, then $20 million, then $50. He married Sarah at 30, had a daughter, Emma, at 32, bought properties in 4 states, built 3 businesses, hired 147 employees. At 38, Marcus had $47 million, 3 thriving businesses, real estate in 4 states, and was completely, utterly alone. Sarah filed for divorce on a Tuesday. Emma was 8 years old and barely recognized him. He'd missed her 3rd birthday party, her first day of kindergarten, her school play. He'd missed 6 years of her life building companies that didn't need him and chasing numbers that didn't matter. It was 2 in the morning when Marcus typed into Google, "Why does nothing matter anymore?" He found an article about an island called Okinawa, where people regularly live past 100 years old. Not because of some miracle drug or genetic advantage, but because they have something called Ikigai, a reason to wake up every day. Marcus clicked the link. The article talked about purpose, about meaning, about how Western culture had corrupted the concept of Ikigai, turned it into a 4-circle Venn diagram about finding the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. But that wasn't real Ikigai. Real Ikigai was much simpler and much harder. It was the answer to one question. Why do I wake up every day? And the answer couldn't be about you. It couldn't be to get rich or to be successful or to prove something, because those goals have an end. When you reach that end, when you have the money or the success or the proof, the void swallows you whole. Marcus kept reading. The article mentioned a 94-year-old fisherman named Hiroshi who still went to sea every morning. Not for money. He had enough. Not for glory. No one cared. He went because the fresh fish fed his community, because his grandchildren waited for his stories, because the sea needed someone to respect it. Hiroshi had Ikigai. Marcus had $47 million and no idea why he existed. Marcus booked a flight to Okinawa 3 days later, told his partners he was taking a sabbatical. They thought he was insane. "You're walking away from $23 million in pending deals," he replied. "I'm walking toward something I should have found 26 years ago." He met Hiroshi on a Thursday morning. The old man was mending nets on the beach, fingers moving with the unconscious precision of someone who'd performed the same action 10,000 times. Marcus introduced himself. explained he'd come to learn about Ikigai. Hiroshi looked at him for a long moment, then said, "You have the face of someone who's been running for a very long time." Marcus felt something crack in his chest. "Yes," Hiroshi nodded. "What are you running toward?" "I don't know anymore." The old fisherman smiled. "Then maybe it's time to stop running and start living." Over the next 3 weeks, Marcus followed Hiroshi. Woke at 4:30 in the morning, went to sea, mended nets, cleaned fish, delivered the catch to the village. Every night, Hiroshi's grandchildren came over. They ate together, told stories, laughed. Marcus watched and slowly began to understand what he'd lost. One evening, sitting on the beach watching the sunset, Hiroshi said, "You know what your problem is? You've spent 26 years waking up for money, and money doesn't wake up with you." Marcus felt tears on his face. He hadn't cried in 15 years. "I forgot why I made the promise." "What promise?" "To take care of my family, to never let them struggle like we did when I was 12. Hiroshi was quiet for a moment. "And did you take care of them?" Marcus thought about his mother's new house, his father's paid debts, his brother's degrees. "Yes." Hiroshi nodded. "Good. So now you have a new question. What do you wake up for today?" Marcus didn't have an answer. The old fisherman smiled. "That's okay. The question is more important than the answer. The question keeps you searching. The answer just lets you stop." Marcus returned to San Francisco 4 weeks later. He looked different, moved different. His partners barely recognized him. The first thing he did was schedule a call with Sarah. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He asked for a chance to learn how to be a present father, a chance to show Emma he was more than a bank account and an empty chair at dinner. Sarah was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe me either, but I'd like to try." He started picking up Emma every Saturday. At first, she didn't know what to do with him, this stranger who looked like her father but acted like someone new. They went to the park, to museums, to the beach. Marcus didn't check his phone, didn't think about deals, didn't calculate opportunity costs. He just watched his daughter play. Research from Harvard University has followed 724 people for over 80 years, tracking every aspect of their lives. The longest-running study on human happiness in history, and the finding is remarkably simple. The happiest people who live the longest aren't the ones with the most money or the most success. They're the ones whose purpose is connected to something bigger than themselves. They're the ones who have relationships that matter, work that serves others, communities that need them. They're the ones who have Ikigai. Marcus had to make painful choices. He left 2 of his 3 companies, kept 1 part-time. His partners called him insane, told him he was throwing away his future. He replied, "I've been throwing away my life for 26 years. Now I'm buying it back." He started walking every morning, called his father twice a week, returned to the church his family attended when he was young, volunteered at a food bank on Thursdays. Small things, ordinary things. Things that wouldn't make him richer or more successful or more impressive. Things that gave him a reason to wake up. Slowly, Marcus discovered he didn't have one Ikigai. He had many. Emma was Ikigai. Watching her grow. Being present for her soccer games and school projects and midnight conversations about whether the universe had an edge. His health was Ikigai. Waking up without his back screaming. Having energy to play with Emma instead of being too exhausted from 16-hour workdays. His parents were Ikigai. Making up for the years he'd been too busy to call, too important to visit, too successful to care. His faith was Ikigai, something greater than himself, something that reminded him that money and success and achievement were just means, not ends. Now here's where the story becomes your story. Maybe you're chasing something, a promotion, a business, a certain number in your bank account, a certain size house, a certain kind of car, and maybe you believe that when you get there, you'll finally be happy, finally be satisfied, finally be satisfied, finally be enough. But let me tell you what Marcus learned the hard way. When your reason for waking up depends solely on you, on your achievement, on your success, on your accumulation, you will eventually collapse. Because you're not designed to carry that weight alone. No one is. But when your reason for waking up depends on something transcending yourself, when it depends on your daughter's laughter or your community's needs or your student's growth or your craft's mastery or your friend's well-being, you become unbreakable. Because those things don't end. They renew every single day. Maybe you want to start a business, but you've spent 9 months researching the perfect business model. Your college roommate started the company 6 months ago with an idea sketched on a napkin. They just hired their 5th employee. While you were optimizing, maybe you want to write a book, but you've been planning the outline for 2 years. Your coworker published their first novel last month. They started writing on lunch breaks, 15 minutes at a time, while you were perfecting. Maybe you want to get healthy, but you've spent 8 weeks comparing gym memberships and meal plans. Your neighbor lost 30 pounds. They just started walking every morning, imperfectly, while you were researching. You know what kills more dreams than failure? Preparation. You're not waiting to be ready. You're waiting to be safe. And safety doesn't exist. Let me be brutally honest with you. No frills, no storytelling, just pure truth. If your reason for existing is achievement, you will achieve things and feel nothing. If your reason for existing is money, you will make money and feel empty. If your reason for existing is success, you will succeed and wonder why it doesn't matter. Because those things are destinations. And destinations are where purpose goes to fade. But if your reason for existing is to be present for someone who needs you, to create something that serves others, to master a craft that makes the world slightly better, to build relationships that outlast your life, then you will never run out of reasons to wake up. Because those things renew themselves. Every single day, forever. Marcus had to face a devastating realization. He'd wasted years. Emma was 8. He'd missed the first 6 years, her first words, her first steps, her first day of school. Those years would never come back. He would never get another chance at her 4th birthday or her kindergarten graduation or the night she lost her first tooth. Gone. Forever. But he couldn't go back. He could only decide what to do with the years he had left. And that's the choice you have to make right now. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Not when conditions are perfect. Right now. What do you wake up for? If your answer is money or success or achievement, I'm not judging you, I'm warning you. Because those destinations have an end. And when you reach them, you'll discover what Marcus discovered at 28, that you've built a prison of gold and locked yourself inside. But if your answer is something bigger, something renewable, something that serves others or creates meaning or builds connection, then you found what the Okinawans call Ikigai. And you'll never be lost again. Here's the practical path. First, ask yourself the question, why do I wake up every day? Write down your first answer. If that answer is about you, about your accumulation, about your achievement, you found your problem. Second, identify who or what needs you, not who you need. Who needs you? Your children, your parents, your students, your community, your craft, your art, your patience, your garden. Third, do something for them today. Not a grand gesture. Not a life-changing action, something small. Call your mother, play with your child, help a neighbor, create something, serve someone. Fourth, repeat tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Fifth, when you fail, because you will fail, embrace the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi. Imperfection is not a flaw, it's proof you're human. Your broken places are where the light enters. A study from Tohoku University followed 843 people for 7 years. Those who reported having a strong sense of Ikigai were significantly less likely to experience decline in physical health. Their brains aged slower, their hearts stayed stronger, their lives lasted longer, not because Ikigai is magic, but because when you have a reason to wake up, you take care of the body that allows you to fulfill that reason. Marcus is 43 now. Emma is 13. She still lives primarily with Sarah, but Marcus sees her 3 times a week. They have breakfast together on Wednesdays. He watches her soccer games on Saturdays. They have movie night on Sunday evenings. Last month, Emma asked him a question. "Dad, why did you change?" Marcus thought about it for a long moment. "Because I forgot that balance isn't giving 100% to one thing. It's giving enough to many things. I was giving everything to work and nothing to you. And without you, none of it mattered." Emma was quiet. Then she said, "I'm glad you came back." Marcus felt tears on his face. "So am I, sweetheart. So am I. The truth is, most people never come back. They spend their entire lives climbing ladders leaned against the wrong walls. They reach the top and realize too late that success without purpose is just another word for emptiness. They have everything and feel nothing. They win the game and lose their lives. But you don't have to be most people. You can ask the question now, why do I wake up every day? And you can change your answer. You can choose purpose over achievement. Connection over success, meaning over money, Presence over productivity. You can find your Ikigai, not someday, today. Before I show you how to build purpose into every area of your life, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like it below, and tell me in the comments what gives your life meaning that isn't about achievement or money. Let's learn from each other. Marcus was just a boy who made a promise at 12 years old. Nothing special, no unique advantages. Just a burning need to protect his family from pain. But he turned a means into an end. He forgot that money was the tool, not the goal, and it cost him 6 years of his daughter's life that he'll never get back. But he woke up, he asked the question, he found his answer, and he came back. The path is ancient, the path is tested, the path works, and the path starts with one question: why do you wake up every day? If you can't answer that question with something bigger than yourself, you haven't started living yet, you're just surviving. And survival isn't a life, it's a prison you build one achievement at a time.